Hi, I'm Skull. Sorry for the late upload, but I was too busy with midterms and spring break to make a decent video, as if I ever done that in my short time here on YouTube. Everything's better with the number 2 beside it. Team Fortress 2, Payday 2, Titanfall 2, Supreme Commander 2. Actually, ignore that last one. However, the game with the number 2 we have today to review is a title I hold near and dear to my heart like any other RTS gamer does. Company of Heroes 2. Company of Heroes 2 is a fast-paced RTS game, the likes which mimic the great and glorious StarCraft series. However, we're not in space, and stuff like this actually happened. Welcome to World War II, another thing with the number 2 that was arguably better than the first one. This game was released on June 25th, 2013, and developed by Relic Games, published by Sega. Interestingly enough, it was supposed to be published by the original THQ before they went defunct back in 2013. One wonders what would have happened if they released Company of Heroes 2 before that happened. As the sequel to the older 2006 game of the same name, it was the first game to be developed on Relic's new Essence 3.0 game engine, which I'll get into later. It released relatively scuffed, but overall good. To quote IGN, Company of Heroes 2 is the USSR of real-time strategy games. Huge, powerful, and just a little bit broken. Receiving many positive reviews from both critics and gamers, selling over 680,000 copies in both North America and Europe. Another interesting detail is that Russia petitioned to have the game removed from stores over the portrayal of the Soviet front being the meat grinder that it was. However, this didn't stop most of them from playing anyways. Gameplay. This game focuses more on the eastern front of the war, with the base game only containing the two factions, the Germans and the Soviets. I'll explain microtransactions later. You choose who to play, and you choose your commanders, who each have their separate abilities and tactics. You then set up your base and start pumping out units. Main the Soviets as a beginner. They are arguably the best for early game victories, due to one unit, the conscripts. Conscripts are cheap and expendable and can be upgraded with different weapons. Fill the map with conscripts and seize as much territory as you can. This is a surefire way to make any bad German player quit the game, go to the forums, and complain about how the Soviets are too overpowered and should be nerfed. However, it's essential to note that while the Soviets shine in the early game, the Germans possess formidable capabilities in the late game. When played by skilled players, German forces can unleash some of the most powerful and specialized vehicles, turning the tide of battle. Units like the Panther and Tiger tanks can be devastating, especially when supported by well-coordinated infantry and anti-infantry. The key to mastering Company of Heroes 2 lies in the understanding of these dynamics. The Soviets excel at early aggression and territory control, while the Germans can dominate in the later stages of the game, if they can withstand the initial onslaught. Each faction offers unique strategies and playstyles, making for an engaging and fun multiplayer experience. Of course, there are the single-player campaigns and the skirmishes, which I'll not be talking about because nobody remembers the campaign and the only skirmishes that are fun are the online co-ops. Now that we have the positive side of things done, let's move on to the criticism. Now here's the main issue, the microtransactions. The base game is only $20 and the rest of the factions are $40. That's a $60 game right there. What makes it better? Each of the fun commanders are locked behind a paywall as well. Of course, you could grind for them for the premium currency, but it's pure RNG and takes hours, if not days, of grinding. All that aside, the other issue that I can think of is that the engine this runs off of can be a bit finicky, to say the least. Company of Heroes 2 is a great game. In conclusion, it successfully builds upon the legacy of its predecessor, offering players an engaging blend of strategy, immersive storytelling, and dynamic gameplay. With its detailed graphics, innovative mechanics, and the intense realism of World War II battles, it provides both veterans of the genre and newcomers with a compelling experience. While some technical issues and the expert AI being overpowered may detract from the overall enjoyment, the game's tactical depth and engaging multiplayer modes make it a worthy addition to any strategy game enthusiast's collection. A bit of housekeeping before I leave. I may start live streaming here on YouTube, or not, and just doing some overall gameplay videos. I think it might boost the audience scores. Who knows? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, do whatever. Bye.